Today, we're going to talk about a subject that's on everyone's mind: how to have a sharper brain. And no, I'm not talking about some magic trick or miracle supplement. The answer, my friends, may be closer than you think. Exercise. It may sound strange, but science has increasingly shown the powerful connection between body and mind. And to guide us on this journey of discovery, we have some incredible studies to share with you. Let's start with recent research from New York University, published in 2022, entitled Examining the Effect of Increased Aerobic Exercise in Moderately Fit Adults on Psychological State and Cognitive Function. In this study, the authors, Basso and his colleagues, followed a group of healthy adults who already exercise moderately. Guess what they found? Increasing the frequency of exercise compared to maintaining a moderate routine led to a significant decrease in levels of general negative affect, including fear, sadness, guilt, and hostility. That's right, exercise can help fight bad moods, but it doesn't stop there. The research also revealed that increased physical exercise led to an improvement in the participant's body image. Who knew that working up a sweat could have such a positive impact on self-esteem? And you know what's even cooler? The authors found that the more the participants exercised, the greater the psychological benefits. In other words, the more you move, the happier and more confident you feel. Another interesting study worth mentioning was conducted by Basso and Suzuki, also from New York University, in 2015. The title, Acute Exercise Improves Prefrontal Cortex, but not hippocampal function in healthy adults. The researchers focused on the effects of a single session of vigorous intensity exercise in healthy adults. What they found was that just one session of exercise was enough to improve the functioning of the prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain responsible for important functions such as working memory, information processing, and cognitive flexibility. But calm down. The research also showed that a single exercise session had no impact on the function of the hippocampus, the area of the brain associated with long-term memory. This suggests that to reap the benefits of exercise on memory, you need to maintain a consistent routine over time. And if you think that meditation can boost the effects of exercise, you're right. A 2018 study, also from New York University, entitled Brief Daily Meditation Increases Attention, Memory, Mood, and Emotional Regulation in Non-Experienced Meditators, carried out by Basso and his colleagues, investigated the combined effects of meditation and exercise. The results? 8 weeks of daily 13-minute meditation combined with exercise resulted in a reduction in negative mood states such as anxiety and fatigue, and improved attention, working memory, and recognition memory. Amazing, isn't it? But it's important to remember that, as with any treatment, meditation can also have its challenges. In the study, the researchers observed that meditation impaired the quality of sleep in some participants, possibly due to the time at which the practice was carried out. The tip here is to experiment with different times and find what works best for you. To end our conversation, let's go back to the 2022 study by Basso and his colleagues, which presented us with an interesting tool for assessing the effects of exercise on the brain: spatial navigation. The researchers found that the total number of cycling workouts over 3 months was significantly associated with an improvement in the participants' spatial navigation ability. In other words, the more you cycle, the better you become at locating yourself in space. And why is this important? Spatial navigation is a complex cognitive function that involves several areas of the brain, including the hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, and parietal cortex. The improvement in spatial navigation suggests that physical exercise can have a positive impact on several areas of the brain, contributing to better overall cognitive functioning. And if you're wondering which type of exercise is best for your brain, the answer is simple: what you like best. The important thing is to stay active and challenge your body and mind. But if you want to know more about the specific effects of different types of exercise, a 2016 study by Lynn and her colleagues from Virginia Tech University explores the relationship between mindfulness and motivation to exercise. They found that mindfulness is associated with greater intrinsic motivation to exercise. In other words, people who practice mindfulness tend to exercise for pleasure and satisfaction, not just out of obligation or for aesthetics. And there's more. The study also suggests that mindfulness can help overcome the barriers that prevent people from exercising, such as lack of time or laziness. This is because mindfulness helps us to be more present in the moment and to deal better with the negative emotions and thoughts that can sabotage us when it comes to getting our bodies moving. It's worth a try, isn't it? But before you go around enrolling in all the gyms and yoga studios in town, let's take a step back and understand how physical exercise really impacts our brains. The 2015 study by Basso and Suzuki gives us an interesting clue. Acute exercise improves prefrontal cortex, but not hippocampal function in healthy adults. Remember how we talked about the prefrontal cortex being responsible for important functions such as working memory, information processing, and cognitive flexibility? Well, this study has shown that a single session of vigorous intensity exercise is already capable of improving the functioning of this area of the brain. But how does this happen? Science is still unraveling all the mechanisms involved, but some theories point to increased blood flow to the brain, the release of neurotransmitters and growth factors, and the stimulation of neuroplasticity. Hey, the brain's ability to remodel itself and form new connections. It's as if physical exercise were fertilizer for our brain, nourishing it and boosting its development. And speaking of development, the 2016 study by Lynn and her colleagues also highlights the importance of intrinsic motivation for regular exercise. They argue that when we exercise for pleasure and not just out of obligation, we are much more likely to stick with it in the long term. It's as if exercise becomes a hobby, an activity that makes us feel good and enjoy ourselves, rather than a burden to be carried. And you know what's even cooler? The 2022 study by Basso and his colleagues, examining the effect of increased aerobic exercise in moderately fit adults on psychological state and cognitive function, suggests that the psychological benefits of physical exercise can be enhanced by practicing mindfulness. They found that combining aerobic exercise with daily meditation led to an even more significant decrease in levels of general negative affect, including fear, sadness, guilt, and hostility. In other words, by uniting the power of movement with the wisdom of the mind, you can achieve an even deeper and longer lasting state of well-being. But as with everything in life, balance is key. In the 2018 study by Basso and his colleagues, brief daily meditation increases attention, memory, mood, and emotional regulation in non-experienced meditators. The researchers observed that practicing meditation before bed impaired sleep quality in some participants. The tip here is to experiment with different times and find what works best for you. Remember, the goal is to find an exercise and meditation routine that fits into your life and gives you pleasure and well-being. And if you need help getting started, don't hesitate to seek out a qualified professional.